free version. I never pay for anything unless, you know, I have to, or it's really, really good. This is something slightly different, and this is more kind of technology-based. It's more of an IT tool than a teaching tool. It's called binary switch. And a lot of teachers say that, you know, they have this problem where, you know, you get your students doing something on the computer and they're not really doing it. They're actually on Facebook and they just sort of switch screens when you walk around or something like that. This is a useful tool that you can download and install on the computer where you can kind of selectively block websites. And you can block them on a kind of computer by computer basis. So if you catch one of your students using Facebook, you can actually block it from that computer. You know. So that's kind of a useful tool that puts some power into teachers' hands. They can sort of selectively block and unblock sites on different computers. And that can cut down on that sort of playing around with things that are not on task, which can be useful. I can't show you that on my computer because it's a Windows one and I don't use Windows. So, but if you're using a Windows system, then that's fine. And it's free. So again, some pros and cons. It gives the teacher some control, and, you know, let's be honest, we all like a bit of that. You can block selectively. It does require downloading and installing on each single computer. So again, you know, if you work in a school that has a computer lab where you get students to go and work, then, you know, you're going to have to install it on every single one individually. And you'll need to negotiate with other people who use it so that, you know, if you've blocked it, the next teacher in doesn't have to sort of come in and unblock everything, or they know what's blocked. But that's a possible useful tool if that's what your problem is. This is a different tool. This is a site that I really like. It's called How Do You Say, and it's like a pronunciation dictionary. I'll just show it to you quickly. He said, optimistically. And you can just type in a word and find the pronunciation of it. We'll go for advertise, which is always my favourite word to look up. Because I never really know whether I say it correctly or not. Let's see if we've got some sound.
Advertise. Advertise.
So it's a kind of nice site for sort of helping students with sort of pronunciation of words. You can sort of, it's nice as well because it kind of shows you the related words as well, so they can sort of check their word stress and how it changes.
Advertised. Advertisement, American advertisement or advertisement.
There you go. So handy site, really useful one to use with students, but it kind of bugs me because sometimes it comes up with some very inappropriate, not unappropriate, isn't it? So I better look it up. Okay, some very inappropriate pictures on the advertisements, which can be sort of potentially embarrassing. So one of my favourite tools to get rid of advertisements is actually this one called Add Out. So if you have a website that has inappropriate advertisements or little pictures that come up every now and again, and you want to be sure that, you know, your students aren't distracted by those, all you need to do is enter the URL of the site and click on Go, and it will take off the advertisements. Or advertisements. So it will change that into that. I can't actually show you how to do that right now because, ironically, the site is down today because, I don't know, just because my luck works that way, I think. But it's quite simple. So you just enter the URL. You enter the URL of the site you want to get rid of the ads from and press Go. And then it gives you a new web address that you just share the new web address, and that removes the advertisements. Okay, so some pros and cons of that. It removes most advertisements, though not all. It doesn't require any downloads, and it creates a new hyperlink for you, so you can link straight to the new site without the advertisements in. The cons, it's not 100% effective. So you'll need to test it out on the site that you want to use it with first. If the site comes from if the advertisement comes internally, is internally produced by the site makers, then it won't go. If it's coming in externally, like Google Ads, then it will. And it sometimes blocks features of the site if they're coming in from different sites. So it's something you can try it and see if it works for you. Although don't try it today because it's not working for anyone. Okay, I'll give you a quick listening break, 30 seconds, talk to the person next to you. What do you think of those two tools? Are they useful, are they not, or are you having different problems? Just have 30 seconds break from me talking. Okay, stop. Okay, any questions so far? Anybody want to? You don't have to. Okay, we'll move on to something else. Okay, this is a different thing that I've used. It's something called Simplybox, and it's a tool for creating what's called visual bookmarks. Do you know what bookmarks are? Do you know what favourites are if you have favourites in Internet Explorer and you keep a list of your favourite sites? Well, bookmarks are the same thing, only visual bookmarks are slightly different. Instead of actually just grabbing the name and the address of the website, they grab a picture of the website or a sectional picture of the website. So it's a good visual reminder of what's on there, and it's much easier for kids to use. I'll show you what that looks like. He said optimistically again. I'll just shrink those down a bit. Okay, so this is a set of visual bookmarks that I collected for my students when we were doing something about wind power. And each one of these pictures is a screen grab of a different website. So when I want my students to explore wind power, instead of sending them to Google where they'll find 15 million links on wind power, which is kind of just a few too many, I send them to this page. And they can just check through these. They still build up some of the digital skills that they need in terms of assessing summaries because they're getting snippets from the site. They click on them and then they see this part of the site and they can assess how interesting it is and how relevant it is. And then if they want to click through to the site, they decide it's useful, they just click on the item there and they can go to the actual website. So I'm controlling the sites that they access, making sure that they're safe and reasonably specific, and yet they're still having to build those digital skills of assessing summaries, deciding whether something's relevant, and then going through to it. If they decide it's irrelevant, they can go back to the box. They can also leave their comments here if they want to. So you can set it up as a kind of task for them to do. So they look at these different summaries, assess them, leave some comment, or click right through to them. If they don't like them, they can just go back to the source of these and just look for another one. And these boxes are very easy to create. All I need to do is I have a button up the top here that says box it, and whenever I find a useful site, I click on it, draw a little square, and drop it into a box. And I have lots of different boxes where I can collect different things I want. I'll see if this works here now. Okay, so if I want to grab this part of this website, I've clicked to box it. I choose that part of the image, and then I have my collection of different boxes, and I can just drag it into the one I want it in down the bottom here. So it's that easy to collect up these boxes of visual bookmarks that I can then share with my students. So for me, that's a tool that I find really useful because it gets students onto the real web. It gets them using real digital skills, real web skills to assess summaries, look for relevance, and then go to authentic materials. But there's some control there over that process. And for me, this visual bookmarking as well is much easier to deal with than these kind of little names of the name of the site and a URL. It's kind of more. I have visual memory. I remember things better that way. Again, this is a free site. You can set up your own collection of boxes and bookmarks. So that's something that I found useful. some of the pros and cons of that one. What's very nice about these boxes is that they can be collaborative as well. So you can work with someone else, you can give someone else access to them so that you build the boxes together. You know, if you want to use it to collect bookmarks to useful sites for language learning, and you work in a team of 4 or 5 people, you can all drop your favorite bookmarks into the site, which is kind of good. So it doesn't have to be you working on your own. And you can actually take the boxes and embed them into web pages so that they become a kind of slideshow instead, which is kind of nice effect. And it helps to develop link and evaluation skills in your students. Some of the downsides, of course, you still have to find good sites to bookmark, which can be a challenge. And it runs on a plugin, the little button that I pressed to grab the square. That's something I've installed in my web browser, so you have to be able to install that in your web browser. It takes about 3 minutes if you have access to it. But how many of you here use Internet Explorer? Okay. How many people use Chrome or Firefox? Okay, people who use Internet Explorer, my recommendation is don't. No, it's not a very good web browser, and it's not been developed to be compatible with a lot of things. Microsoft have their own kind of standards which they like to stick to, but they're not always everybody else's standards. So lots of things that work with other browsers like Firefox or Chrome won't work with Internet Explorer. Why? I don't know. So download Firefox, it's free, and then these plugins that you can download for it really extend the capabilities of your browser and make it a much more flexible and usable tool. So that's your homework, you know, if you've got Internet Explorer, download Firefox and stop using Internet Explorer. Okay, this is a similar tool to Simplybox, but it works in a different way because you can actually use it to capture more different kinds of media and show them within the wall. And it's called Wall Wisher, and this is an example wall that I've created. It works a bit like a pin board, one of those cork pin boards where you can pin up post-it notes. And these are kind of my post-it notes for my students. And what I do is I collect together useful websites on these post-it notes, and then they can come here to this wall and look at them, and I can build tasks around them. And what's nice about them is they can connect through to video, for example. So this one, instead of sending my students to YouTube, I just add this post-it note that connects to the YouTube video what I want, and they can watch it here. So they don't have to go away to YouTube and potentially see other things that are unsuitable.
This is going to make solar affordable for everyone.
There's my video.
This is a very standard prototype.
So they've got their tasks set up here already. They want to find 10 facts about solar energy, and they look at these 6 different resources and watch the different videos in them, and they collect facts about them. So I don't have to send them to YouTube and say, look for videos on solar power, and they could find anything. It's very easy to edit. If I want to add another one, I just double click on it, and here it is. Let's see if I can drag that one-handed. So I drag these sticky notes about where I want them. I type in a message there that says what they're looking at, and add the URL to the video I want them to see underneath, just here. And then that automatically imports the video there.